Okay, so I will now show you how to use array functions and how to generate arrays in LabVIEW. So go ahead and save your previous VI. I'll give you some time to do now. Make sure to create a folder somewhere with all your VIs from this lab course, and make sure you save it on your H drives. All right, so let's create a new VI. So again, as we did before, File, New VI, and again, as usual, we'll have a front panel and a block diagram. Now, arrays are a little bit different to work with than standard variables because arrays do not have a data type until you select one. So how do you do that? Well, let's start by placing an empty array. So right click, go to array, and then place an array. So I'm going to do that again. Right click, go to array, and place an array there. So just to recap, it's right click on front panel, um, array, clusters, etc. array. So that's how you access it. So as to select the data type, you have to put one. All you have to do is put whatever data type you want inside the array. So go ahead, right click on the block diagram, go to numeric, and left click on numeric control, and I just place it inside. Now you'll see that the array now changes to take whatever data type we've selected. Now arrays have three different parts. One is the value of whatever element it is, one is the label, and one is the index. So for the index goes from 0 to however elements minus 1. So 0 will be the first element. So go ahead and modify the first element. So just make that a 1. Now, uh, just just to recap, make sure this is a 0, and then you can modify the value inside. Now, if you click one of these two buttons, you can go to the next index, so to the next element. So let's click up. So now you'll have a 1 here, and that means we're now modifying the second element into the array. So I'm going to modify that and put a 2 there. I will do again the same for the third element. I'm going to put a 4 there, and simply just fill it up until I'll just fill up another one. Okay, so now I've got 4 elements in the array. So you can see that you can go through them by simply changing the index. Now usually you will not just show one element at a time, you want to see the whole array. It makes it easier. So make sure you hover your cursor on the bottom right corner, and you'll see this little staircase kind of symbol. So again, pay attention to your cursor. It needs to look like a staircase, and it will only happen in the bottom right of the variable. And it might take you a while to find it, but just make sure you have the icon. And once you've got the icon, drag it across like that, and now you can see all the elements of the array. So this is how we can now also modify the elements individually here if we wanted to. For instance, we can do that. We can just do that, etc. So if you want to have a different type of variables, we can just drag, for instance, here a button instead, and you will see now. So let me do that again. So right click, Boolean button, just place that inside, and now you can see that again. I've got an array of buttons. Now make sure the icon looks like that, and now I can modify whatever I want inside by just clicking it. Okay, so let's go now to the block diagram. Now these are the two buttons that the two arrays that I've created. So what I'm going to show you now is how to access programmatically each of these elements. So right click on the block diagram, go to array, and click the index array function. So just go ahead and place that. So I'm just going to type that down. Right click, array, index array. Okay, so this is where this function comes from. Now all I have to do is wire it in. So left click and and on the output of the array. So left click, it has to look, your cursor has to look like a wire, and it goes to the top input of the function. Now there's another element you have to wire in, that's the index. This is the same number you were changing earlier to put in the different elements. So go ahead and right click on index, create a constant. So let me do that again. Right click on index, create a constant. So now you should have it looking like this. Now this is the output of the function. So I'm gonna go ahead and right click, create an indicator. So let me do that again. Right click, create indicator. So now we should be able to read each element of the array. So let's say when I get the third element, so we should put here a 2 because it goes from 0. 0 is the first element, so the third element is 2. Now if you go back to the block, to the front panel, you'll see that this new variable called element popped up. Now if you run the VI, you will see that it'll pick up the third element, which it has done. 9 is the third element.